Remember 31 back here for FSI DFS. This is going to be the NASCAR preview show. It's nice to be back home, normal setup. TK Nation is away for the weekend, so I'll be doing this solo, but have a little bit more time, so we'll do a full breakdown. No truck series and Xfinity yesterday were kind of wild races, so um, everything didn't really go as planned, some wrecks and stuff. So, and I know Cup hasn't really gone super well for a lot of you. And I think, the tire has been a big issue, and lots of plays that would have really made sense in 2020 and 2021 are just not working out as much this year just because of the new car and the new tire. So, but we have a completely new racetrack here today that they haven't raced on in a while, but there are a lot of guys that do have experience because the Truck Series and Xfinity have raced here. I think it's like really weird. The name of the race is, has Illinois in the reference, but it's in like St. Louis, Missouri. So it's kind of interesting there. I guess they're pretty close in proximity in the same region of the United States, at least. But anyway, so there are some guys that have had some experience here. It is a short track, a lot of braking. As I mentioned in the truck video, I watched some of the Cup practice, and they're saying that the guys were braking almost as much as they do right before they'd run into something, especially turns 1 and 3. We did see some more tires go down in practice. We saw Parker Klingman's car catch on fire in practice. Chase Buescher, or not Chase Buescher, Buescher is out with COVID. So because Xfinity drivers are in Portland, they pulled Zane Smith to drive his car. But AJ Allmendinger did fly from Portland to here to race in this Cup race, which is kind of weird. He did win the road course out in Portland on Saturday. Ben Rhodes qualified his car. Here didn't go that great. I think he had a tire issue. I know like the back of the car looked, I saw it in the garage, had like a bit of damage to it. So, and it's kind of weird because I did say that a lot of these guys have had a little bit of experience here in Xfinity and in truck, and that's pretty much who's up at top. The Hendricks cars really didn't qualify well here. Fords look really, really strong, especially the Penske one. So start up top and go through what we have here. But the two other things here is the track is very similar to Phoenix and Richmond, they're saying. So that's what they're kind of looking at. And they say it's very, very hard to pass here. Like it's a wider track, but it's hard to pass. So one of the key things that I looked at data wise is like how have pit crews done at Phoenix and what pit crews have done well overall for the year before I made my picks on these. So starting at the top, we have Chase Briscoe. He won the pole. He looked really good. He's been fast. He did well at Phoenix. And one of the things that they talked about here is the shifting of the car. And I've been saying this all season since went way back to the Clash, which was a very, very short track. They put that in a football stadium. And Briscoe had a mechanical malfunction, so he didn't do well finishing the race, if I recall. But he was doing well because he's one of the ones that figured out how to shift these cars faster than the rest. It's the shifting is a little bit different with these. It's not your like H pattern shifter. It's a sequential one. So up is you go down in gear. So if you're in second gear, you're going to hit it up to go to first gear. You're going to hit it towards you to go to third gear, and then hit it again to go to fourth gear. And some of the guys with the more traditional shifting have really like struggled with the concept of this, even though they've had multiple races in this car. So, but Briscoe's really grasped it pretty well. He's been good. His pit crew was in top 6. So I think he's going to get out there. I think he's going to lead early. And I think at 7,800 that even if he does end up not finishing, I think he's definitely going to finish in the top 10 today. So maybe he loses 7, 8 place differential points. But I think with all the dominator points that he can get early on in the race, that he's like a prime play. So I think I'm going to lock him in on cash. Cindric, like I said, the Penske cars are fast, but I don't know if Cindric is going to be able to maintain his position here. Chris Bell, I have as a fade. He always qualifies well, but then he always falls backward. At 9.2, it's a hefty price tag. I don't see him, even though I do believe he won a truck race here. I don't think he's one that I really want to consider. So starting too far forward, just what I've seen recently with him, he's a fade for me. Tyler Reddick, again, experience here. I don't think he has a win, but he's raced here before. 9.4. I don't see him getting up there and leading the race. I see him falling back. His pit crew is decent to average, so GPP for me. Okay, so Ryan Blaney, I think, has done really well at this type of tracks. Run well at Phoenix. He looked really fast in practice. So I think he's going to be my second prime play here. I think he, like I said, these Fords have been really decent, and I think that he's going to have a good race and that he can actually get up there at some point and maybe through pits. He has the 7th fastest pit statistics. So, that should be able to, I know Briscoe's 6, but I think that he should be able to get up there at some point just with his speed and potentially get out in front of this race. Denny Hamlin, GPP, qualified well, but I just see him like moving backwards. He's just been so off and on this year. So it's just hard to trust him. I know he does have, he has had some success, but just the overall struggles with this new car, I can't play him at 10-6 in cash today. Joey Logano, cash. I really like this play also. I've debated between he and Blaney for the prime tag. But I think, he's definitely in consideration here as like maybe you're the 4th man in your lineup if you can fit it price wise. He has been fast here. The Fords have been fast here, especially the Penske ones. Done well at Phoenix, and his pit crew has been really well also, ranked 3rd. So definitely someone to consider. Eric Almirola, I put the cash tag on him. I like the price. I like how he's performed here. I just fear maybe he's starting a little too far forward. So that scares me a little bit too. Harrison Burton, I got to put a fade here. He just has been not good this year. And we said the same thing about Chase Briscoe last year until I think towards the end of the season that like maybe he moved up too fast and things then started to click. And this year, like he's really started to put it together and been very relevant in the Cup Series. Burton, 53. I like the price, but I think he's starting way too far forward. He could probably end up in the top 20. Like I said, the Ford's been fast, but it might just be that he got the setup right here and everything for practice and qualifying, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate into the race for him. So kind of scares me off him there. Like at 5,300 for $100 more, I'd rather play Zane Smith starting third, second, who could potentially move up some places, instead of Harrison Burton, who could really drastically fall, especially if we did see some wrecks here in the truck race, and he has a propensity to get wrecked. So that could just ruin your day there. Ross Chastain hasn't been the greatest on flat tracks, but he's been really solid overall this season. Number 1 pit crew at Phoenix, and I think has been very good the year. Getting him out there, setting him up, and their pit stops have been good. So I think he's to be highly owned. I think if you're not going with the 2 Penske cars of Blaney and Logano, I think he's one to definitely put in there. Could probably get up there, owns to win here in the truck racing series. So Kurt Busch, he's good on flat tracks too. 82 is not a bad price. I think he can stay in the top 10, even though he has a Toyota, not a Ford. So I think you can play him in cash there. Kyle Busch, he's always a GPP. Doesn't when he has practice, he always does decent. 12th, can move up a little bit. At 10-9, I don't know. Can he go out there and lead laps to pay it off? Potentially, that's why he's a GPP for me, but I don't know. I might not have many shares of him this week. Truex starts right below him at 10-4, a little bit of a discount, but Truex is one that I don't think I see doing well on these flat tracks. And I think that he probably could finish in the top 20, but at 10-4 without any potential of getting 10 place differential points or leading any laps, for me, he's a fade. Cole Custer, GPP, like I said, the Fords have been fast, so that's why he's not a fade. But he's had some struggles, and Stuart Haas Racing has had speed early in the season, but not as much recently. I don't know what kind of happened, if the other teams kind of caught up to him, but TK and I were always talking, and it seemed like last year that they kind of mailed it in with the old car and really put a lot of research and development into the new car. And I think it paid off early, but I don't know. It seems like they haven't really been able to sustain it. So price isn't bad. Starting position's a little scary. So GPP for me. Kyle Larson, most expensive driver just because of the namesake. It's kind of, he and Bubba Wallace have a love-hate relationship with this tire. I think I really need to maybe like start looking back at the races, or see if somebody else has already done it out there that covers NASCAR, that does a whole bunch of statistics to see what drivers have had the most tire issues this year, and he's got to be up there. Had issues last week again. It just seems like he's too aggressive with a tire. It just doesn't, their pit strategy isn't, they maybe should have come in earlier. Like, I don't know, but at 11-3, I think he's going to be very popular. I think he's very dangerous. He's turning into a GPP, and I think most of the rest of the season, I think Larson and Kyle Busch are going to start my GPP lineups, and then I'll probably fill in with values, just in case it's a race that one of the two of them will put it together. But I just don't see the same consistency as last year. The Hendricks cars weren't as fast here. I think they all went with different setups to try to nail it, and it doesn't look like anybody really did. Chase Elliott, on the other hand, I do really like here. His pit crew has been very, very good this year. I know early on in the season that, he made the comment over the radio to them, like, how many times are you guys going to screw me over? And they had a rough start to the season, but they've been very, very good after that. At Phoenix, they were the second most efficient team with a similar track. So I really like him here. And I think that, again, with 10-2, he's going to need to move up and finish in probably the top 5 and maybe lead some laps, but I think that's definitely doable. So I think he's okay in cash here. I think I like Chastain and the Roush, or not the Roush cars, the Penske cars a little bit better, but I think Chase Elliott is definitely in play here. Michael McDowell, I think starting too far forward, fade for me. Bubba Wallace, the same thing. Tire issue. He's going to be GPP, I think, the rest of the season until like something gets figured out with this tire. He blew another one in practice. Corey LaJoy is a fade. Like, I like him when he's starting 25th on back, a little too far forward here. Kevin Harvick, I think a lot of people are going to be high on here. I've seen a lot of good write-ups on here, and I get it. He's had a history on doing well at Phoenix and on short, flat tracks. He had some speed early in the season. I think at 85 with the place differential he can have, I think he's definitely a top 15 to probably has a ceiling of a top 10 here. So I don't think he's going to lead laps or like get out there and dominate this race by any means, but I think he definitely has opportunity to move up over LaJoy, over Wallace, over McDowell, over Larson, over Custer, over Harrison Burton. So there's at least 6 spots that I'm going to give him like naturally built into here. So today, I think, yes, we can play Kevin Harvick. Eric Jones, GPP. Their pit crew really struggled here at Phoenix. They were the worst one, and they've had a couple issues this year. So I don't know, whether the track that's hard to pass, if he's going to be one that's going to get up there. And there's probably about 4 or 5 guys behind him that I think can get ahead of him. Todd Gillian started a little bit far forward than I'm comfortable with, but I like the price. He's in a Ford. He's had experience here in truck racing. And I think if he runs a clean race, he'll be fine at 49 if you need a value play. Daniel Suarez, kind of the same as Eric Jones, has been good and had some fast periods, but didn't look great here in practice and in qualifying. So GPP here. Now I think is one of the toughest decisions in slate because I think that there's going to be super high ownership on William Byron and Alex Bowman, but they looked really bad in practice, like slow again. Didn't nail the setup. They're starting in the back, so maybe they're going to make some unapproved adjustments and get it figured out and fix it here. But Byron has run well on flat tracks. Bowman is not. Byron is $1,200 more than Bowman, so there's a definite discount here. So I think you can consider both of them in cash. You'll have to see how your builds work out. But again, remember, it's hard to pass here. And how far is Byron going to have to move up to pay off his 98 salary to get like the 4 or 5X you're looking for? Bowman, not as much, but he's not as good as the style of track. So I don't know. I might be off of the two of them here, and Elliott be the only Hendricks car that I consider this week. Ty Dillon, I think, is in a decent spot here. He's been consistent this season. So I think you can play him a cash at 5,500. I think he makes a good value play, definitely. Stenhouse, most of the time we look at him in the back and we're going to play him here, but I don't think he really lines up well with this style of track. He is in the Ford, but he just didn't seem to have the speed. So I think he's a fade for me at 7,700. This is going to sit Ricky out this week. I generally like playing him, especially if he's down as far as his aggressive guy. So that aggressiveness could get him forward, but that aggressiveness also could cause him troubles on a newer track here. Justin Haley, GPP, calling cards haven't been great, but haven't been that horrible. But I think potentially, he has a win here in the truck series. So I think, he knows the track well, if he remembers it from those days, or maybe it was an Xfinity, one of the series he's got to win here, but just has been kind of average in Cup this series or this season. Austin Dillon, I've just gonna call him like the vanilla warrior. He and Bowman just kind of there, but Bowman is one that's like sneaky vanilla, like just kind of like no real bravado, but can at the end of the race you like look at the top 10 and you're like, oh yeah, he's there. Austin Dillon, on the other hand, just hasn't really put a ton together this year. Maybe it's like struggles getting to know the new car, things like that. But I think just with his history of tracks on Phoenix, they were the 4th fastest team. Sorry, to on pit road. So I think there's definitely some potential to get him to move up here. So 75 is not exactly a value play. It might be a no man's land. You might not land here, but if you do need somebody in the 7K range over Eric Jones, over Stenhouse, over Cody Ware, like Almirola starting really far forward, like obviously you're gonna play Briscoe, but I think if you need another 7K guy for your build, I think he's the answer for you. Keselowski, GPP, a lot of people really like him because he's in a Ford and he's really run well at Phoenix and in the past and like flat tracks, but that was in a different car. And he's just been horrible this year. He's dead last in points. I played him last week. I fell into the trap and he wrecks. And I just looked at myself and said, you are the fool that played Brad Keselowski. So this fool is not playing Brad Keselowski this week. I'm just going to, I put him as a GPP because I do understand some people's arguments for him, but if he does well and if he ends up in the ultimate lineup then and burns me, so be it, but I'm not paying 7,100 to find out. Cody Ware is a fade. Zane Smith, again, like he's a really good young talented driver, and I think that he's someone that potentially can move up some spots here. The front row, he's partners with Todd Gillian. Both guys have had truck experience here, so I think those are 2 decent value plays for me. Blicky and McLeod are just here collecting paychecks, AJ Allmendinger, I have him listed as a prime play because this style of track is almost like a road course with the braking and everything. And I think he understands it. He has spent some time in this car, so he understands the differences in the shifting. And I think there's really no place that he can go but up here. They did have Justin Haley as his teammate, like out here running it already, so they should have some good notes. He's had some experience here, I believe, in Xfinity. So I really think that he's a really, really good play here at 6,200. If he does end up not doing well, or the damage from practice or qualifying, wherever they scrape the wall a little bit, if that hinders the car, I think that. But these cars are very, very solid. Like, a guy at work described them as almost being like little Tonka trucks, which is it seems to be pretty much spot on. They're much better than the sheet metal ones that would just like tear apart like aluminum foil so easily beforehand. So I think AJ is one that you want to lock into your lineup. So AJ and Briscoe, and then like Blaney, Parker Klingerman. No, it's probably a backup car. Like that car was completely on fire. Something blew in the engine. It was coming out the sides of the car. It was just surreal because he pulled into like the garage area, but was the garage area where they had no fire extinguisher, so everybody's like running halfway across the garage to try to grab some. One dude tries to be the hero, and he's there like trying to stomp the fire that's coming out of the tailpipe, or not the tailpipe, but the exhaust pipe down the side of the car, just like trying to kick it to put the flame out, like to no avail. It was just like, buddy, just back away. You have a vehicle that's full of fuel that's clearly on fire. Just let the professionals handle this. I appreciate your effort. So no to Parker Klingman. So like I said, I think that's pretty much what the build's going to be. I'm really going to focus on Fords. I'm going to focus on the guys that I talked about that I think their pit crews can help them move up some spots here, and because passing is going to be difficult. And going to try to build a couple solid lineups. It's not going to be one of those weeks where I'm going to like split my cash up and play different like dominators and stuff. I think I'm really going to limit the top 10 cars that I picked to probably, really going to just be Briscoe, Blaney, Logano, and Chastain. I think really those four guys are the only guys I'm going to focus on in the top 10. And then I think really, you have to make the decision. Do you trust Byman or Bowman? And then there's some really decent value plays, like I said, like Dylan, AJ at the bottom, Zane Smith. So appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Try to get back to you, or hit me up at Mega Ruler 31. Again, if any like late breaking news, always like check back the video like half an hour. So if like somebody else comes down with COVID and is getting replaced or something weird like that, car's going to the back, we try to throw in notes. I'm sorry I didn't get to the some of the Xfinity questions yesterday. They didn't pop up on my phone under a notification, so I apologize for those couple of asked questions. But we do try to get to answer your questions just to try to help you out, because that's what we're here for. So appreciate you watching. So if you can please like our video, that helps us go a long way to get our message out to other people. So share with your friends, subscribe to our channel so you know when the video is coming out. Hopefully TK and I can connect next week for the races. I haven't even looked at the schedule yet to see what it is, but do our best to try to get together and cover them for you. So appreciate you watching. If you want more information on FSIDFS, you can look at the details of the video and the information to our Discord, to our website, to all our social medias there. So thanks again for watching. Good luck in your contest today, and we will see you next time.